Okay, thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. It's nice to see familiar faces. Thank you all for coming. I know some of you have come from quite far away. Shannon here came from Ecuador, yes? You're in Florida. You came from Florida, I see. What's in Florida for you? Oh, I see. How's the house? Have you finished building the house? No. It'll take some time, huh? Okay. And let's see. This is our last regular Chan session. This afternoon we will start our Phổ Chi at 1 p.m. So this is it. This is we're preparing to go into our intensive year-end training program, where we'll be learning how to live and in Chan, because it's consistent with the philosophy that I saw in Master YongHua. I was very lucky to be able to observe him when he was still alive. I couldn't understand what it was until now. That is, he personifies Chan. Standing is Chan, walking is Chan, eating is Chan, going to the supermarket is Chan. Okay, so this is the kind of Chan he brought to our country, and actually that's the nature of Chan. Chan is life. You really understand Chan is basically life. Okay, and depending on your level of accomplishment, you'll be able to live more of Chan. The more advanced you become. So, for example, Master YongHua would be like 99% of the time he's in Chan, whereas for us, maybe 1%, 5%. So we have a lot of room to grow. Chan, the nature of Chan is self-improvement. All right. But for everyone involved, regardless of your level of your Chan practice, the immediate benefits of Chan are real. And that is, every time you practice Chan, you actually are doing good to your body. Your body gets healthier. It's natural. And of course, along the way, just like when you start exercising, the body is sore and you get tired and you get drained and so forth. It's a natural way for your body to become healthier. So nothing to worry about as we begin to do our Chan Chi, Phổ Chis and so forth. Your body will have this ups and downs like that. When you first start out, the body is sore and you're tired and so forth. Hang in there. Don't be alarmed. That's normal. And then you get better, and then things will improve from there. Okay. And of course, we are always here for you. You have any questions, any concerns, we're here to consult with you. I never had that luxury before when I practiced Chan. When I had problems, I asked questions, and my master's disciples, they couldn't really help me. I was very disappointed, in that. In order to train people in Chan, we need to have the coaching knowledge, if you will. In order to maximize the performance out of you, we need to coach you properly, just like regular coaches. Okay, and that's how we approach Chan ourselves. We practice Chan ourselves first, and then we learn how to coach you how to do Chan. Okay, so our Chan knowledge is more complete, more useful. Chan is meant to be a useful thing for everyone, not just for ourselves. Yeah. All right, and also part of it, of the natural practice of Chan is open your mind, open your heart, so that you unfold the wisdom that you inherently possess, but you just don't know it's there. You lost touch of it, you disconnected from it. And part of our training is to help you reconnect with that. And in order for that to happen, you need to depend on a healthier body. This is what not often explained enough to people. That is, the foundational wisdom, the foundational enlightenment is a healthy body, a healthier body. Okay, so that's why people who practice Chan, our students, they often heard comments such as, "Oh, you look younger. You have so much more energy." For example, I went to Korea recently. One of my recent disciples is a lady in her 70s, I think. How old is Booz? You don't know? You Koreans should know everything about each other. Small country. There aren't many of you. Okay. So anyway, she's in like her 70s, and her body is not healthy. And when she first started, she couldn't keep up with us. We get up at 4 in the morning, do morning ceremony at 4. Anyone? Can you handle it? And then we really don't go to bed until 10, 11 at night. That's our normal days, and she couldn't keep up with it. And when I was there, and she's been there for about a year now, and in Korea, in our Korean temples, and I was there, and we do morning ceremonies, and then at night we would have a instant noodle party until midnight, and she was still there. And so it's natural as with this practice, you naturally will become healthier. Okay, and it's healthier because of this little thing. The aspect of you become healthier is because your mind is purer. You think less. People don't realize that you get sick because you think too much. Particular if you have the more negative thoughts you have, the sicker you are. So that's why when we practice Chan, we get rid of those negative thoughts. Hey, Sister Victorina is here as well, from the old Catholic temple church. We embrace them all. We welcome you all. And what people don't realize is that they harbor these negative thoughts of greed, thoughts of anger, thoughts of stupidity, thoughts of selfish thoughts, mean thoughts, arrogant thoughts. All those types of thoughts, those negative thoughts, are the reason why your body is sicker and weaker. Okay? And you age faster as you harbor such thoughts. In contrast, you let go of those thoughts, like meditation will do. For example, you normally have thoughts of greed, thoughts of anger. But when you cross your legs, it hurts so much. How can you even have time or have the energy to think about greed, indulging your greed and your anger anymore? You say, it hurts. So naturally, it wipes out all those thoughts. That's the secret of the training. Okay? So endure. Don't worry about it. Okay? So when you have fewer thoughts of greed, thoughts of anger, that's how your body becomes healthier at first. And then later, after you can resolve the coarse forms of greed and anger, and you think even less, that's when your body will become even stronger and better. Okay? For example, the Chinese, they have, you heard of the Chinese Taoists, haven't you? It's a very strong spiritual practice in China, founded by Lao Tzu. Heard Lao Tzu. And the way they practice is, their practice is predicated upon, I'm not a Taoist, so please forgive me, okay? I'm going out on a limb here. And if those you are Taoists and more expert in the area, please beat me up and teach me, okay? You can't hurt me if you're a Taoist. Anyway, I won't be offended. So these people, the reason I know a little bit, because one of my master's disciple, a Vietnamese monk, I used to stay in his temple, and he taught us Taoist practices. Okay, I couldn't understand it back then. Buddhists have so many much more superior practices. Why would you even practice Taoist practices? Seriously, we don't have enough time to practice our own Buddhist practices. I don't even have time to read about Taoism or Taoist practices. But anyway, so this guy, he taught us Taoist practices, and that's how I was exposed to it. Apparently, their process of practice is to get rid of, similarly like us, greed, anger, and stupidity. They don't call it stupidity, but at least they address the issues of greed and anger. Okay, they call it purifying the bodies. Okay, that's how old men look like a boy. Okay, so they say, Gai Lao Huan Tung, something like that. Is there such a thing in Chinese? Such expression, huh? Chinese person? Huh? 什么? Oh. 返老还童. So you reverse the aging and you go back to youth. So do you have any, can we look for some photos of the Taoist priests and so forth, and see how they look like? They have pink faces, and they're like 100 years old, 140 years old, and they look so young, huh? Like a kid. Yeah? And the skin is so good without any foundation. Hey, Koreans. Oh, there's no Koreans now. They're all sleeping in Korea. The Koreans, they use foundations to make the skin look better. Anyway, so I found out recently. So anyway, these people don't use any cosmetics, and these Taoist monks look so young and so healthy. They live to be 100 years and 1,000 years and so forth. And that's their practices. And that is based upon getting rid their minds of greed and anger. Okay? So we have hope. There's hope for us, Buddhists as well. We don't need to be living 1,000 years old, but we get rid of our mind of greed and anger and so forth, we'll be healthier and younger looking. And that's a fact. Sounds good? Okay, that's the end of my commercial. Anyone has any questions? No? Okay. And then we continue discussing the Song Enlightenment written by YongHua, which is a very famous, very revered Chinese Chan master. And this is explained by Master YongHua. So I never actually read his explanations, so I don't remember. Yes, 8.
From T.S. Geppetto, how come one day I can sit for 2 hours with not too bad pain and the next day excruciating pain kicks in after 40 minutes?
It happened to anyone at all? Huh? Ever happened to any of you that some days are so hard and you used to be able to push for longer sits and then all of a sudden it becomes excruciatingly painful. You can't do long sits anymore. Anyone? Huh? So what happened? What did you do to address the problem? Yes, 2.
Master, all I do is I just suffer. I just keep sitting until I can't take it anymore.
Can we put it in simpler terms? Suck it up is the answer. Next, Q&A.
Q&A. Yeah, you start.
Can they hear? Oh, yeah. So, for example, if you face one problem in your life, but it's something that you cannot manage, how can you do to not think in that problem and try to not think at all?
Okay, so when you have a problem, serious problem in your personal life, if you have a problem, and how can you not think about the problem, right?
Yeah, or even if you have that problem and you have to solve it, I think in that case you need to think about how to solve it.
Or you go to work, how can you not think, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Never happened to me before. I don't work anymore. So I can't possibly give you good advices. Any of you who are still working, how you not think? How can you? You've been practicing Chan, yes? How can you not think? It's a good question. That deserves a good answer. Who has a good answer? Oh, good Lord. And I've been claiming to people that, making claims that you are so advanced, you're better than Master YongHua disciples, and they ask a simple question like this, you can't even answer, come up with an answer. Huh? This is embarrassing. So you're turning me into a liar. People all have a similar reaction. Really? You told me I reached arhatship. Are you for real? My own disciples question me. And they've been, all this time, all the classes are free. So that's why they say, wait a minute, I got all that for free? Seriously? Yes, 7.
Master, you think when you have to at work, that's your job, but then when you do your practice at home, you turn it off.
Okay, very good. And what's another way to put it? At work, you think because you paid to think. They didn't pay you not to think. Not to think. Not think. Right? I mean, have some integrity, be more honest. We're getting paid to think. How can you possibly not think? You take the money, the boss's money, you better think because of what you paid. That's what you're hired to do, to think. But on the other hand, after work, no one is paying you anymore. Why are you still thinking? That's my question to you. Can you stop thinking after work? You can't, can you? You say, okay, now I'm done working. I'm not paid anymore. I should stop thinking. Can you stop thinking? You can't. You don't have the skills to stop thinking. So Chan is a form of training that helps you develop the skill to think only when it's necessary and stop thinking when you don't get paid for it, when it doesn't pay to think. Okay, so what about your personal problems? You have a problem. Yes? Your wife yells at you. You're not going to think about it? Seriously? Of course you're going to think about it. Huh? Of course it's important to you. If it's important to you, naturally you have to think about it. Yes? And then what? Can you stop thinking? No, you can't. Once you start thinking about, how to get out of trouble, you can't stop thinking, can you? Again, similarly, Chan enables you to say, okay, it's time for me to think. And then when I'm done thinking, I can go as far as possible with my thought processes. I better stop. What you don't realize is that if you're able to stop your thought processes, your solution to your problem is better than your thinking, the one you came up with your own thoughts. I'm talking about, for me personally, 100% of the time. When I think and I try to solve a problem, okay, it's there. But once I stop thinking and look at the problem again, the solution is slightly better, at least slightly better. So there's an advantage to not thinking because if you stop thinking, your wisdom kicks in. Your thoughts is your smarts, your intelligence. But wisdom is something higher plane, from a higher plane. It kicks in. It only kicks in because you stop thinking. And that's why your solution, your problem solving is far better than with your thought processes. So the final answer is yes. Yes, absolutely. Naturally, we have to think about when we are faced with a problem. Okay? That's who we are. That's how we're wired. Okay? But go through that happens naturally. Yes, we think about it, and then we develop the skill to stop thinking so that we come up with a better solution even. That's Chan. Chan is to accord with the conditions. Chan to accord with your own nature. Okay? It's natural. Does it help? Did I answer the question? Okay. Very good. We're on slide 45. This area is important. This section is important. says the 5 skandhas, like floating clouds, emptily come and go. That is correct. It refers to the ego. The 5 skandhas are your personality, yourself, your ego. Your thinking is part of your personality. Okay, and that's why we exist, and that's how we function, because the ego takes over. It likes to think. Okay, and so the 5 skandhas are, okay, you should memorize this, because this is a very important part of your wisdom. You want to unfold your wisdom. Eventually, when your wisdom, when you be certified to have wisdom, you look back and say, that's what it meant. The 5 skandhas meant. And you verify yourself. Right now, I tell you, yeah. And then when you become, when I tell you, you got the 4th stage arhat, and they say, I don't believe you. Okay? And your first reaction. But eventually, you settle in, and you realize that you got to 4th stage arhat. You open your wisdom because you are able to transcend your ego, which is described to us by the Buddha as the 5 skandhas. You are the 5 skandhas with a label with your name on it. Okay? That's you. Okay? Every one of us, every single ego, every single person, every single notion of self, okay, can be broken down to 5 different categories. The form or the body, okay? That's what houses us, okay? We are very attached to our body, okay? Feelings, we're seeking pleasurable feelings, and we avoid unpleasant feelings. That's your ego right there. Yes, sounds familiar. Number 3, we like to think. We like it to be logical. Yes, it has to make sense to us. That's your ego right there. It doesn't make sense to me, and that's your ego speaking. So far, so good. Number 4, the activity, okay, which is autonomous system, things that a little bit lower than the thought level, a little bit deeper thought level, like your autonomous driving. Your autonomous system where you breathe, your heartbeat, and all those things. It's driven, I explained the last time, driven by the fear of death. The ego has a very strong instinct of self-preservation. It will do anything possible to survive, to live, to carry on. So far, so good. So activity, so all these underground activities that's going on that sustain life. Okay? And finally, consciousness, your awareness, your being in touch with the outside world. That's through your consciousness. Okay? That's the ego right there, all the 5 components. In order for you to destroy the ego, you need to know how to destroy these 5 components. Okay? Only the Buddha has the wisdom, the ultimate wisdom, to recognize the makeup of the ego. That's how he can figure out how to break it up, to destroy it. Okay? Unless you know specifically the exact nature of the ego, you cannot possibly destroy it, because just the proof is that look at how hard it is for you to pin down your wife. You think you have her cornered, but no. As soon you think you have got her figured out, she wriggles out of control. Sounds familiar? I do sound sexist, don't I? Anyway, I'm getting old, so yeah. too late to change. So that's why the worldly people, doesn't matter how much research they do, how smart they are, they cannot figure out the ego. Why is that? Why not? Because worldly people depend on their intelligence. That's thinking. Okay? Thinking is dependent upon the ego, the function of the ego, and the ego will never defeat itself. That's not possible. Okay? And that's why worldly people, if they pursue this process with worldly thinking, with their smarts, will never be able to figure it out. It's not possible. Okay? And the way to get there is stop thinking. Okay? Actually, it's a lot more involved than that, but part of your training in Chan is learn to stop to think less and less and less and less, so that it's easier to get rid of the other 5 components, the other 4 components of the ego. Is that clear? So we have it down to a science. The Buddhists are experts at doing this. So you can follow the Hinayana approach. They can do that. For us, we can do it as well. The difference being that we do so much better than Hinayana people. You can call it Theravada, I don't care, whatever you want to call it. And we are so much better because we understand it in such far greater details, and we're much more intimate with the process. That's why our training is so much more powerful. Okay, because until you squash the ego, you will not have real wisdom. Your wisdom cannot come to the fore unless you seize control of your ego. Okay? And when you seize control of the ego or the 5 skandhas, then you see they're like floating clouds. They come and go. They're there. Don't worry. The ego is there. It's not like once you understand the ego, don't think that it will go on forever. No, it's like floating clouds. They come and they go. And they come again and they go. Don't be attached to it. Don't say, hey, I'm done with the ego. I'm finally free. I'm free at last. It doesn't work like that. It's only for speeches. Okay? And the reality is that why the ego is still around is called karmic debts. That's why you have this body. We all have this body because we have karmic debts. Okay? And the ego, part of the good things about the ego is there to help pay it off. While bitching and moaning, I have really coarse language. I better learn. While moaning, while complaining, okay, that's the ego. Okay, so floating clouds, because when you see the ego coming, the ego wants to think, the ego wants to feel, it wants to feel like a drink, feel like a Korean barbecue, feels like fish sauce, Vietnamese fish sauce, and so forth. That's the ego. It's there, okay? And once you figure out how to rein it in, you're in control. It's just like your kid. You know that he's up to mischief. Let her. It's okay because we're still the boss, right? And that's the advantages of controlling the ego. You're in control. Your ego is not. Until then, your ego is in control. That's why you're confused. You're helpless. You cannot stop thinking. If you're in control, you say, hey, I can stop thinking at will. I can stop feeling at will. I'm no longer attached to my hair. That helps when you get older. Okay? So we're in control. So floating clouds is there, okay? Emptily come, the English translation really is deplorable because these people don't understand China at all. It's horrible to try to correct this. It's like you have to correct the whole translation because they don't understand China at all. Would you like me to fix it just for today? And because I'm lazy, I don't want to fix the whole thing. It's just too much work. It's later for you. Yes, too.
Master, I don't think emptily is a word.
Yeah, it's nonsense. It's so
Never.
Chinglish. The English that's tainted with Chinese culture. Chinglish. We want American English. Huh? It's like, can we fix it? Okay, just for the heck of it. Like floating clouds. Empty. It's no emptily. It's nonsense. Gong is empty. Floating clouds are empty. That's what the Chinese means. Yes? Chinese people? Huh? Empty. Coming and going. Coming and going. That's all. It's that simple. Why do they have to do emptily come and go? Oh, go back to China. Empty, comma. So still Chinese fixing. Empty, comma, coming and going. So that's what he means. He says this is why, from an enlightened person perspective, he says, I've broken through my ego. So I recognize how my ego functions. You see? I'm enlightened. This is a proof right here. I'm enlightened. Now he says, my ego, my 5 skandhas, they're still around. The Chinese would not explain that to you. They say, this is Chinese secret, state secret. Okay? He's enlightened. He says, the 5 skandhas, my 5 skandhas. He's describing his own skandhas, okay? They're very humble. They don't talk about your skandhas. They don't care about your skandhas. He said, my skandhas, my, okay? Wu Yun, and it's my. But the is okay. The is more literary, okay? It's more elegant to say the. But for this guy here, this Chinese monk here, he says, my 5 skandhas are like floating clouds. Okay? Empty, coming and going. So you can add 5, it's more fluid. And grammatically more correct when you add the verb are like. Okay, insert the R, okay, in front. But it's a semantic thing, a semantics thing. It's not a big deal. I don't care about that. I don't claim to be an expert in English either. Okay, but so he says, my 5 skandhas, my ego, I rein it in. I know how I can control it. But you know what? From my perspective, I realize they still are like floating clouds. They're still around. Okay? It pops up. It says, let's go have a massage. Anyone? Huh? On your legs? Huh? And so they have this urge. Let's have some French fries. Huh? Okay, and so forth. I have some good cheese, which I was in Korea. I said, what happened on the good cheese in Korea? Is there such thing called good cheese in Korea? Apparently the answer is no. I don't know how people can live like that. Well, anyway, so the five skandhas, my ego, my five skandhas, my ego, is like a floating cloud. Okay, they are like floating clouds. Okay, floating clouds are empty. I saw through them. Okay, empty clouds. Clouds are empty. They're not real. Okay, they're just an illusion, coming and going. So the ego is like that as well. Sometimes it comes and misbehaves, and you say, "Hey, cut it out." There it goes. So you are in control, not your ego. That's what happened to enlightened people. Is it clearer now? Because when I read these things and I study these things, and when I first started in Buddhism, it says that enlightenment, oh God, that's it, I'm enlightened, that's it, I'm done. No, enlightenment is that you enlighten and then you realize, hey, and my ego is still around, how wonderful. Sometimes I let it, be itself and be sweet to my wife and to my husband. How are you going to connect with people if you're totally empty? Have you thought about it? The Chinese give us this illusion. You become enlightened and hey, nothing matters anymore. Now you're not real. All of a sudden you're dead or something. No. It's just like floating clouds. It comes and goes, and we're not attached. When it comes, let it come. When it's time, we say, hey, go away. We're busy. Don't bother me. Okay? You're in control. How is that? For real control over your life. Worldly people like to control others. Wise people, enlightened people are in control of themselves. That's all that matters to them. That's the difference. You are control freaks. Okay? When you become enlightened, you say, control me. It would not bother me. You want to control me? Go for it. Anyone? Cool? This is what Chan is about. You have the choice, not your ego. Your ego works for you, not the other way around. The boss is you, not your ego. Oh, thank you. Someone appreciating my spiel. Okay. Someone from Florida. I never thought Floridians are capable of. I'm sorry, DeSantis. I don't know how you guys could elect a guy like him. What a clown. The three poisons, next one. The three poisons, like bubbles of water, rise and sink. I don't know, the semantics really throw me off. I said, oh, say what? Like bubbles of water, rise and sink, unreal. This is unreal to me. At least that part is correct. Okay, 三斗水报，须出没。Okay, okay. So the three poisons: greed, anger, stupidity. Yes, that's what really is characterizes the misery. The real source of our misery is our thoughts of anger, of greed, of stupidity. That's why they're poison. They're poison because every time you give rise to such thoughts, you're poisoning yourself. Your body, gets sicker. Remember, I started by telling you that. Your body get healthy, but you have fewer thoughts of greed, anger, stupidity. Okay? And that's Chan. But the people without Chan indulge in thoughts of anger, greed, and stupidity. That's why they're poisoning themselves. And they cannot help themselves. Someone insults you and says, "Oh, how dare you insult me?" Whereas the people who have wisdom say, "Okay, calm down, do that." Okay, so the 3 poisons. I think we've seen before. We should because of the semantics here, we should have a parallel so that it's a little bit more elegant, more fluid. The 3 poisons are like bubbles of water. Can we add are more bubbles of water? I'm not done yet. Okay, are like bubbles of water, unreal. Okay. Rising and sinking. Okay, so there's like we try to do it like the Chinese couplets, so that there's a parallel. Okay, are like bubbles of water, unreal, rising and sinking. Unreal bubbles of water. They're there temporarily. They really have no substance at all. Bubbles of water, you touch them, it's gone. Okay? So that's what unreal is. Su is false. Okay? Unreal, false, empty, same concept. Okay? Unreal is okay. So the bubbles of water are really have no substance. Okay? Rising and sinking. Okay? It should be arising and disappearing, but it's okay. Rising, sinking is okay. I have a hard time imagining how bubble can sink. But I don't know. You're the English expert. I'm not, so I don't know how to translate this. Maybe like arising, or appearing, or disappearing. Okay, appearing and disappearing, or arising and disappearing, arising and vanishing, okay, but not rising and sinking. So which one do you prefer? Which one do you want? You want your own version? Arising and vanishing, appearing, vanishing. Yeah, sounds good. Hey, Taiwanese stuff. Yeah, Chu is appearing, Mo is vanishing. That's very good. Okay. Or appearing and disappearing, appearing, vanishing. That sounds good. Okay. So that's how the nature of greed, anger, and stupidity. Why? How can we claim that they are appearing and vanishing? It's the same as the 5 skandhas. You see the parallel now. The 3 poisons that's harming you are from your thoughts. Yes? It's from your ego. So that's why they are not real at all. Ego is not real. Ego is false. Okay? If once you have wisdom, you look at the ego, there I go again. Okay? Having craving for gelato. Okay? Anyone? So far, so good? So this is what enlightened people says. I still have, he says, my 3 poisons. Okay, not the. Okay, my 3 poisons. I don't like the way they explain this. The Chinese, they want to say the and so forth. To me, Master YongHua, the author here, is enlightened. He's humble. He says, I don't dare talk about your 3 poisons because yours, with all due respect, okay, I know about my 3 poisons. Okay, whatever your 3 poisons are is yours. Okay, does it make sense? So that's why my 3 poisons, but the is more literary. It's okay, it's acceptable. But what he meant, okay, precisely is my 3 poisons. Okay, okay, and of course, when you talk about 3 poisons, you cannot say your 3 poisons because your 3 poisons are real to you. You see? So that was my 3 poisons. Okay, all the 3 poisons are like bubbles. Okay, bubbles of water. Okay, water bubbles. Okay, water bubbles, unreal, appearing and vanishing. Okay, water bubbles move the thing. It's very compact. The way he says it's so compact. It's not. It's the Chan teaching is very punchy. It's like punch. You don't linger. You don't throw a punch until it's necessary, and then you punch and you disappear. And so, not me. I'm gentle. I'm not violent at all. Okay. And I don't know. The Chinese have so much to explain. I don't know why. Okay. And finally, that's all the time we have left. Yay, right? I know you. Okay. When one is certified to the characteristic of reality, there are no people or dharmas. Please. What's the characteristics of reality? This is what the scholars do. They translate at universities. Professors say, the characteristics of reality. And they don't even know what it means. I don't know of many professors. I only know of 1 professor, maybe 2, who would understand the characteristic of reality. But the rest of them, Buddhist scholars and Buddhist experts, wouldn't know what they're talking about. That's the sad thing about it. People talk too much and don't know what they're talking about. And that's why they have no credibility. The students only go and take Buddhist classes because I don't know why, but they just want to learn knowledge and not wisdom. Buddhism is not about knowledge. Buddhism is about wisdom. Originally, when the Buddha came to our world, were there any books, the compilation of sutras and shastras and Vinaya? It's nothing whatsoever, just words he spoke. And after he spoke, it's gone. And then his disciples, who were very compassionate, said, wow, what I learned is fantastic. Okay, I better preserve it for posterity. So it's the disciples' fault that we have all this junk right now. Back then the Buddha, I'm done, I'm out of here. Hey, sayonara, I'm going to lunch. 2 more minutes. I don't know why I'm hungry this morning. Okay. I don't know where the sin is. Okay. When one is certified to the real mark, there are no more people or dharmas. I like to add more to differentiate him from us. A state of enlightenment versus a state of mortal people, of ordinary people. That's why I would add more in English to differentiate ourselves from a Chinese teaching. Could you correct it, please? When I once certified to the real mark, there are no more people or dharmas. Real mark, comma, again, is for emphasis. There's a break there. I say this is kind of profound. So when I am certified to the real mark, comma, okay, you say what? Real mark? What's that? That's what the comma, okay? It's very clever. Comma, so that, okay, are you ready? Okay, there's no more people or dharmas. So far, so good? Okay, so there's a gentleness here. You see, when one is certified to the real mark, okay, comma, there's no more people. Okay, let me finish quickly. Real mark here refers to when, after you become enlightened, you see everything. You see the naked truth, if you will, that the Christian Catholics love to mention. The total truth, the real truth, nothing but the truth, whatever, and what Jack Nicholson would say. You don't watch movies at all, do you? God, it's so boring, these women. You only watch romance movies? That's it? You read Silhouette? Is what you read nowadays? My era is Silhouette romance novels. Anyway, when you're certified to the real mark, meaning that when you become enlightened, you see the true mark, the true nature of everything. You look at, for example, a Catholic person or ex-Catholic person, you see it's empty. Okay? You see everything as empty. Okay? You have no attachment whatsoever. Okay? That's what is the real mark is. Okay? It's not something you can understand. It's not something even the arhats or the Hinayana people can understand. That's why we call the real mark. Only enlightened people in Mahayana would understand this. Let me clarify it for you. Okay? The Hinayana people have no clues what the real mark is. So that's why you never hear them mention the word real mark, because it's a foreign language to them. Okay? Only in us, on our side, when we talk about real mark. Because to us, it's different. Okay? It's not the same as their notion of emptiness or whatever. It's too limited. Okay? It's like tasting wine and not swallowing. What a horrible thing to do. Sorry. Bad habits, all habits. Very hard. Okay, so when you certify real mark, means you become enlightened and you see the reality of things, of people. That's a real mark. Okay? They look at us differently. These enlightened people, they look at us with, differently than the way we look at them. Okay, that's the real mark, because they can see the real mark in everything, in the people, in the Dharma, and so forth. Okay, there are no more people in Dharma, meaning that they are no longer attached to people. Okay, or dharmas. Dharma means anything. They have no more attachments. Okay, it is not talk. It's in action. When there's no more people, meaning that when people come and insult you, okay, ever happen to you, slander you, okay, and you say, who's being slandered? Who's being insulted? No one. Why would you get upset? Okay? Or on the other hand, that person with the face, and you don't see any ugliness in that man. Okay? Okay? And so that's why there's no more people. You're not afflicted at all. Okay? And dharmas. So, for example, what's a dharma? That's important to people. Food. How about food? Okay, we're behind schedule, guys. We need to stop. Okay, food. Okay, and cheese, in particular cheese. Okay, people complain, for example, there's no cheese in Korea. Baloney. Cheese doesn't matter. There's no cheese in the United States either, or in Italy either. Huh? They're not attached. That's what it means. You're not attached to anything. Cheese, cars, houses, jobs, bodies. All right? People is what our clear attachment, and Dharma meaning a broader sense, and nothing whatsoever. Dharma means anything conceived by the mind. Okay? Whatever your mind thinks of is a Dharma. A very important concept, remember that. A Dharma is anything, it's an object of the mind. Okay, if you want to learn Buddhism, this is going to keep on coming up. Okay? Whatever your mind thinks is a Dharma. And so we practice this so that we get to the point where we cut off all the thinking, therefore, is no more dharmas. You see that? Does it make sense now? Why is no more dharmas? Meaning in the mind? The mind doesn't think of anything. It's not that because it doesn't think, therefore, it's no more microphones, no more use, no more food for lunch. It's there, but the mind doesn't think of it. That's why there's no more dharmas. All right? We're free. All right, we stop here today. Thank you all. Let's go eat. Finish.